rooms upstairs.
Jennifer, you're going to call this order,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm calling it to order.
Yeah, so,
10 seconds.
I think, I mean, the possibilities are
All right.
open,
Feels good.
if you just keep them that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this town. You got one clock over there and you
6
got
o'clock.
another clock. Oh, they now, they now.
There we
agree.
go. Now it's 6 o'clock. I'm just looking at my phone.
And now you have 3 clocks.
They're synchronized.
Yes. All right, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the joint meeting, Parks and Recreation Board and Town Council. So we're going to start with public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right. Nope. All right. We're going to move on to announcements and reports. I'm going to pass it to Madison for a summer camp and aquatics update.
All right, good evening, everyone. So just wanted to give a quick update now that we have several summer programs going on. Summer camp we're on our 4th week already now. So it's a hit as per usual. Going on field trips on Tuesdays and Thursdays, visiting the community pool Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So this is an example or a picture from their Legoland field trip recently. So they're doing great and having a great time. We also have our Tritons and aquatics programs that are going on. Everything's kicked off. So we have swim lessons going on, water aerobics going on, and then our Triton swim team. We have about 170 swimmers this year, which is great. This is actually a picture from their swim meet on June 6th out in Denton. They're going to Granbury this weekend, and then we'll host a home meet on the 27th. Also, I think a big talk of the town with the pool is the shade structures. You can see that we do have one that is installed. We're still finalizing timelines on the others. We had kind of a little bit of a hiccup on the east side of the pool with some of the footings not being quite right and the poles being the right size. So we're working to get that resolved as quickly as possible and to get some finalized timelines and updates for you all. So we are diligently working on that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any questions or anything on summer camp, aquatics, or anything like that? Yes.
Has the aquatics enrollment increased this year versus last year? Do you see that?
Tritons is about the same. I say we're pretty much on par. Our swim lessons are filling up in most of our classes. Water aerobics consistently has about 10 to 15 or so participants there every Saturday. And then, yeah, Tritons is doing really well.
Madison?
Yes.
It's just an ETA on the resolution on the cabanas. So if
So
someone
that's what we're trying to finalize right now. So we're working with Fane, our contractor, in Park Hill to get some very specific dates and numbers on that, but we haven't quite received that information. Anything else? All right.
Awesome. All right, July 4th update.
Yeah, it is the Texas Town of Patriotism, right? So we have a lot planned for the 4th of July. So you, council received some nice bags today that has all your information for the day of the event, has your parking pass in there, t-shirt. If you have any questions, you can reach out to anyone on the Parks and Rec team. We have our 3 big events. We'll start with the Patriot 5K and Fun Run. That'll start at 7:15 in the morning. That location is slightly different this year. We're kicking off from the Trophy Club community pool. We're trying to help mediate some of the parking issues that we had last year and letting people exit the race a little sooner. If you look over to that first picture, you'll see that we have a finisher medal this year. So that will be new. It's something that's been highly requested and is pretty typical of a race. And so runners will get a finisher medal at the end, and then we will still do our normal awards for those who place in the different categories. Those also received an upgrade this year, but you have to win to see it. All right, then we also have the Parade of Patriots. That'll begin at 10 a.m. from the Medland parking lot. Any of the staging, if somebody needs to, still work on their flow or wait for participants to get there, that'll happen at Independence, and then they'll drive on over to Medland Middle School and line up there, and we'll start promptly at 10 a.m. We're excited about that. And then, as usual, we'll have our celebration. That will begin at 6 p.m. with fireworks show at 9:40. If you see the other picture on here, we have a new element. This is our ninja, I don't know, cross feature. So this will go over at the T-ball field. So it's not replacing anything. It's just a new addition. The catch is that any participants do need to wear closed-toed shoes if they're going to do it. So, but we're excited to have something kind of new and fun for people to participate in this year. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that there won't be a shuttle service this year with the construction going on at Byron Nelson High School. We don't have a place to really shuttle people from. So there will be golf cart parking on that multi-use field. We encourage people to ride together. And then we'll have parking in the usual places like Medlin, over at Veterans, Beck, that kind of thing. So any questions regarding July 4th? Yeah.
There will be a council float.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys will be able to actually park at the Medlin parking lot, and then you'll be kind of right by that gym entrance to the hospitality room area is where your float will be.
I can't be at the veteran float.
What'd you say?
I wanted to go to the veteran float.
You can change throughout, just hop off, run down to the,
Well, it'll be behind you, just shuttle back and forth.
Hop off and run
Yeah.
back. You can run back.
That's a good idea. I like that. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, Madison, do they need to sign a waiver to do this thing?
They do actually, but they will have their own staff taking care of that process
Gotcha.
for us.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
and awards are by age group?
Yes.
We have a 60-plus in there?
I don't remember what I don't know.
Awards, that's older folks might want to,
For running?
yeah.
Yeah.
The AARP crowd, come on.
I have to look at that. I don't remember what the
Yeah.
top age group is, but
I
you
got
can
the-
win it regardless of age. I think
Ah,
you
let's
can do
bump
it.
it
I
up.
got the
Give me a
gold medal.
chance.
I got the gold medal 5K last time at the
Yeah,
Solana.
yeah.
I was the only one in my age group.
Yeah, I got
You didn't have to tell anybody that. You just say I'm a winner. All right. Anything else I can answer for you guys?
Looks amazing.
All right. Great. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to move on to the regular items. Consider approval of the May 18th, 2026 Parks and Recreation Board regular meeting minutes. You approve? Do I get a motion?
To approve.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Fantastic. Daniel, you got it? Wonderful. All right. I'm now going to pass it to the mayor to review and discuss purchasing the former Premier Academy facility. Take it away.
Okay, I would just like to introduce this item as saying the council, all the council present today, we are very excited about announcing the potential purchase of property here in Trophy Club, which Chase will review for you. And it does a couple of things. Number one, it meets the master park plan objective of creating a gathering space for all of Trophy Club. And it also, honestly, as you look at it, it increases the wonderful opportunities for recreational programming, both for children and adults. And so what we will do is hear from Chase first, and then after that, since the council has already spoken to it a little bit, we'd like to first hear from the board. Hopefully y'all have looked at your packet and you come prepared to ask questions or talk about it. And after you've given some questions, asked some questions of Chase, the council will then do what you would like to ask, say, or whatever. And then I think the last thing I'd like to hear from both Brandon and Chase are scheduled expectations of, okay, we're here today, how long is it going to, what are we going to do to get to whenever to cut the ribbon? I was thinking about today, I said, we're going to get to have a ribbon cutting in Trophy Club. So if you'll do that, we appreciate it, and so happy to have people here also to listen, as well as online. Thank you, Chase.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Park Board. Very excited to stand before you to talk about this facility and the opportunities that it presents to the community and to our citizens, and just the future of programming and spaces for our community to gather together. and have a place to call their own. A couple of things that we want to talk about is, the mayor alluded to the master park plan, which was one of the initiatives for our strategic plan. And currently in the 2026 to 2031 initiatives is not only the first step of that was creating our recreation program plan, looking at what the future of programming for all ages and abilities looks like within our community. And then also that initiative of establishing a space for all ages and abilities for educational and recreational activities. And as we know, Texas weather goes from raining this morning to blazing hot this afternoon. Who knows what will happen on our drive home? But that's kind of how we operate here in Texas. And so having an enclosed facility, being able to have something that we can count on and look at that and find ways to achieve that. So as we do that, one of the things that we look at the park master plan is, what is our larger vision for the community? And some of these things that you'll see as far as the concept rendering was when we took a tour of the facility, we took photos and of the current state that it's in. As you know, it was a past daycare, and a lot of the stuff that was there from the last day that the daycare was operational is still there. And so we just, use some AI to help clean up the walls and give us a good idea of, what these spaces could look like. So when you see that concept rendering, that's just, the actual space just with people in it. So as we talk about the Parks and Rec Master Plan, some of the big key points of that was expanding recreational programming, increasing indoor recreational opportunities, and then planning for our future community needs, supporting our quality of life amenities, and creating flexible recreation spaces for all ages. Because we know as smaller agencies, that having flexible spaces is really important, of being able to tear down, flip over a room, that, one moment we could be having summer camp in there, and then we flip the room and we turn it over, that we might have a lecture series in there the next hour, and then we flip it again for a birthday party. And so having these flexible spaces that we can accommodate all types of programmings is very important for a community our size. And so looking at the proposed facility, it's getting us one step closer to implementing our long-term strategy for what do we want for our programs and for the town.
Chase, what are quality
Yes.
of life amenities?
Yeah, so within the Parks and Rec realm, looking about your fitness, your knowledge-based educational opportunities, just a well-rounded social activities, things like that. So just looking at everything that we like to do outside of going to work and going home and doing house chores. So that's what I like to say, quality of life.
That's a pretty low bar.
Well, like the things that we like to enjoy and do. And so as we look at the future of recreation and Trophy Club, some of those things that, this is more than just purchasing a building. This building has remained empty for, I believe, the last year and a half almost. And so having a space that is centrally located in the town, I think that's one thing that I was amazed with, was like smack dab in the middle of the town. Before I went in there, I didn't even know this was back there. And then also realizing there's some green space back there and some opportunities of just being right in the middle of town. Represents more than just a building purchase. It's a strategic investment to our community. And as we look at the long-term effects, this isn't just going to affect us here and now, but the great thing about it is where it's an established building, we can have immediate programs after doing a few tweaks, but we're not waiting for 2-3 years to get through design, building, and opening of what we typically see with larger buildings. The other thing, so why this facility? Why is it important? One of the things is it has a full indoor gymnasium, a space that we can use for multiple activities. The great thing about, and it's not your typical gymnasium. When you go into a basketball gymnasium, they have specialized wood floors that you can only do certain activities on. This floor is more of a sport court. And so there's a lot of things that we can do on there of, bringing in tables, bringing in for different types of events. You could even have bounce houses on it. It's not just what we typically call a ball court, that we can do multi-activities as well as events on this type of floor space. And then there's also 2 classrooms and an activity space. Most importantly is, especially as we've had a lot of talk about our day camp and everything, limited restrooms. There are restrooms just off the gym space, as well as in the individual classrooms. There's a single-use restroom in each classroom, which the opportunities for this is that, we can have in the evenings multiple activities, whether it's we have an HOA meeting in one space, and then, if we have a practice going on in the gym, that each has their own restroom support facilities, and we can have multiple types of programs going on in there. As also existing furnishings and equipment. So when we looked and went through the storage cabinets, everything in there, literally the daycare, it looked like one day they were open, the next day they weren't. And you go in the activity closet, and there's a lot of games and equipment, especially for kids camp, that we're like, we can use that, we can use that. And so we wanted to make sure that as we go through this acquisition, that the sellers would know that we have interest in those, and that, we would like to go through that and bring it into our inventory, which will then help save us future costs. I think one of the most exciting things I was excited about was, if you remember to elementary school in the 90s, the big parachute. There's one of those in there, so maybe we could have a team building activity and we go relive the parachute days. Also, just the central location within Trophy Club. One of the things that we've kind of talked about is not only our programs times, but as we look at staffing it and having it open during breaks of school, things like that. Of also just having a space of open gym, that it's a space that we can have time carved out that the kids can come to and play a pickup ball game of basketball or something like that. And building those into our schedules, because we've gotten so into this happens at this time, this happens at this time, and the kids are going around to the parks looking for things to do. And so making sure that we're looking at all aspects when we look at programming this building out. When we look at this building, it has almost just a little over 8,600 square feet of usable space. So just want to run through real quickly, if you don't know where this is located. This is right off the roundabout at Trophy Club Drive. And as you can see, this building in the red is the gymnasium, the support hallway, as well as the 2 classrooms. One of the things that we've talked about, especially for our summer camp, is that not only having multiple spaces there, but there is also a fenced-in playground that we're working out with the sellers to allow our programs to use, as well as this adjacent green area. Because as we know, it's important to get outside, it's important to move and be able to have space to do that. And so this is the general area that we're talking about. The great thing about it is the amount of parking that is included in that, as well as the ability for our buses during our summer program can come in and not have to do 3-point turns to be able to get around. They can make a full loop for pickup, drop off, things like that for all the events that we do with our field trips and the pools. Here at the red arrow, this is where you enter the building. And right as you come in, right here, there's a service, they call it a snack bar, but it's really a check-in area that we'll have built into an office area that they'll come in, they'll be able to get the balls, things like that for the gym, as well as check in for their events, whether it's a lecture or whether it's card games, things like that that we have going on in the classroom. And so staff will be able to direct them right there. Right here, this is the classrooms are pretty similar in size, relatively. When you think about like this space, maybe a little bit smaller, but you could probably 40 to 50 individuals in the classroom in lecture style. So a lot of like our HOA meetings, things like that we've typically housed here in the EOC, things like that can be here centrally located. And then the other classroom is about the same. During the summer, it'll allow us to break up spaces, have different activities going on in each area. So as we talk about our rec opportunities for all ages, our youth recreation, our enrichment programs, as well as our expanding our summer camp capacity. Each year, I believe this year we took bets and it didn't hit 27 minutes. I think it was 32 minutes. It was a little bit behind last year's sellout, but it still sold out in 32 minutes. What that tells us is that there is enough demand for more spaces, but we are limited where we currently are, and there's opportunities here that, of course, with budget, staffing, all those things, we've still got to maintain our standards of care. But if we can hire more staff and be able to look at that, we could potentially get up to more kids in that space. Yes.
Could you give a quick overview of what we have now, numbers-wise, and what it could be in the future?
Yeah, I actually think that's on the next,
Okay, great.
next slide.
Thank you.
And so talking about summer camp capacity, indoor fitness and wellness activities, obviously with a gym space, we can, one of the upgrades that we want to look is also doing a divider in that gym so that we could have multiple fitness classes, things going on in that space. Senior active adult programming, community education enrichments, arts, STEM, specialty programming. These are all things that we've done in little bits and pieces sporadically throughout the couple of years, but we'll be able to have a more dedicated schedule because we will be looking to program this building 12 months out of the year. Indoor sports and gym activities, community meetings and events, and then also, a couple of years ago when it was talked about a building during the pool renovation of having a space for birthday parties, things like that, and that it'd be talked at a future date. This is a perfect space. Being able to rent out, like I said, in the gym, being able to have a bounce house or enough space for the kids to come in and facilitate a birthday party, things like that for the community. So this is a look at the gym put with some of the kids in there. And so it is just a little bit smaller than a full-size basketball regulation court, but it has all that space to be able to do that. So based on our space recommendations, this facility could accommodate up to 100 kids. We currently do 60 a week. This potentially, like I had mentioned, allocating more budget to that. Our summer camp basically has 100% cost recovery. And so looking at what those fees are based on those kids and making sure that we accommodate for paying for our staff and all the programs, everything there. But it would allow us to go up to roughly the 100 children. Comparable regional camps range anywhere from 40 to 140 participants, depending on their facility size. And so also not only summer camps, we're talking about, spring break, winter break camps, things like that, that when the schools are out, being able to have a space that we can do programming for those individuals, because if I got out of work every time my kids did, it would be great, but I don't. So just having year-round youth activities for the kids and a space for them to go. When we look at the surrounding communities, we reached out to the cities around us. City of Denton, they have multiple camps that they run, but their specific site-specific camps are their exploration camps, 50 to 75. Camp Discovery is 40 to 65, and this is based on a week. So this is how many kids they have during that week-long camp. Camp Journey is 50 kids. Roanoke Summer Camp is right at 75 kids. Camp Play in Louisville is 40. And then Rec Camp in Grapevine is 30 to 45, but they also have multiple locations that they are holding that. But again, this is just site-specific, 30 to 45 kids. Camp Mania in Southlake has 100 a week. And then Camp Do It All in Capel is anywhere from 80 to 140 kids. So this would help position us just kind of right in the middle of them.
May I ask you a question, Chase?
Yep.
Because parents tell me that this is one of the best camps. What makes it better, do you think, from their point of view than some of, because these are their opportunities to go to, but they prefer Trophy Club?
Yeah, I think one is also the convenience of having it right here, but the most important, I think, are our staff. They spend a lot of time with the kids, and especially in the current space, when you think about it, they're programming in an old office building. But these kids are going home and saying, I want to go back each week, because they're going on these trips, and on these field trips, they're going to the pool, but the staff's engaged with them. And really, when we think back to day camps or camps that I've been to, it wasn't necessarily the facility, it was the counselors, the staff that I interacted with, that I was like, man, I had a lot of fun there. And so having a space like this of just more activities that we can have them engage with the counselors in is going to make it an even better program. But I would say that's one thing that keeps them coming back, but then also just the affordability of our camp as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess that would be
Yeah.
my question then. Do you anticipate the fee structure changing with this new facility?
Yeah.
The
One thing that we're going to look at within this budget season is looking
maybe
at
doing that.
all of our fees, because it's been a couple of years. And now that we've gone through the master plan, and with the park board and with the council and the community looking at our cost recovery goals, now that next step is us looking at all of our current fees and what we've done in the past and what we need to adjust to make sure that we're meeting those cost recovery goals. Now with the summer camp, it's always been, we want to make sure that we're at least 100% cost recovery, and then it's self-sustaining. Or if we can make a little bit to then put back into our other programs, that's kind of our overall goal, and we've been able to meet that with the summer camp. But, as we add more people, the biggest expenses that we have are our field trips and our buses. And so when you add more kids, you're adding more vehicles, and those costs go up. And so we'll just have to look at the fees based on what next year's projections are for our costs and make sure that we're still in line with those goals.
So, for the summer camps, you said you sold out 32 minutes,
32 minutes this year.
Yeah.
make it 30 minutes. No, but how many people didn't get into the program that could have if they would have been able to?
Yeah, so we typically have on a waiting list. Yeah,
Depending on the week and the popularity, some people prefer certain weeks because of the field trip or whatever it may be. I think that could still have more room to grow. I think sometimes people, because it's been hard to get in, they find other places to go, and don't even try. And if they had a little bit more of a chance to get in, they might, that might grow as well.
and we do have some that go in and grab all the weeks, and then they're like, oh, a couple weeks later, they're like, I forgot about this family trip. So and then it automatically goes to the next on the waiting list. So almost daily, we sometimes get those cancellations, and then the wait list is going in there. But the nice thing is that with the wait list and that demand, that our camps are always full. And so it kind of has a self-correcting feeder system on it. So that demand is there. Okay, when we talk about this building and the financial strategy for this, so the town has approximately 2.2 million of existing capital funding, both purchase the building and make some renovations prior to opening, because there are going to be some modifications that we need to make, such as, new paint, new flooring. There's carpet through the classrooms that, has been there a while that needs replacing, hopefully to a rubberized surface that can make it just a lot more friendlier in this type of recreation space. And so looking at the renovations prior to opening it to the public, this is kind of what we're looking at. So the purchase price is what the council made a motion on last council meeting, was 1.8 million. And then we're looking at estimated 25,000 for closing costs. When we look at the property improvements, these are some of the lists of things that, as we went through, just immediate things that we would need to look at. One is the AV technology, internet, phones, security, alarm system, which the nice thing is that as a daycare, it already comes equipped with that, so it would just be upgrading that to our current system, which all the cables are run, so we don't have to cut walls, things like that. Is just utilizing their cable runs, everything there, which is going to save some funding there. Flooring, ceiling replacement, and when we talk about ceiling replacement, as you come in, the tiles, they currently used for an art project. Some very good artists that were attending the daycare, but replacing some of those ceiling tiles like what we currently have here. And then also looking at gym partition separators and just equipment after we go through and inventory all that's there, what's some extra things that we might need to make it fully functional. And so all in, we're looking at a total of just a little over 2,050,000. When we look at our operating costs, some of the preliminary things that we're talking about is, one, how are we going to be able to staff this and operate this? So we're looking at another full-time program coordinator and 4 to 5 part-time staff. And then looking at all of our other lines with our utilities, our maintenance fees, our supplies and equipment, because obviously as we program, we're going to be programming out 12 months and looking, fees for instructors, things like that, looking at a total around 147,000. And then when we talk about our annual operating revenue, this is one of those things that we are just going currently based off of what we have done as far as rentals for meetings within this building. And so currently projecting 37,500 just based off past of what we have done. But we know with a building like this, that first year is going to give us a really good idea as far as the rentals, rooms, as we get those rates set, which we will be doing with council and park board going forward to establish those fees. But that's what we're looking as far as annual operating costs. And as we continue to build that program out, we'll have data that will carry us through year to year during the budget process.
Have we done any type of community sampling?
Bob, would you speak into this, please? Thank you. Is it live?
It should be.
Yeah,
Should be
thank you.
okay.
Thanks.
I just wonder if we have done any type of community sampling as to the appetite for something like this. Because somebody might say, well, God, you're gonna spend 2.2 million and I'm paying X amount in taxes, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same old stuff that you hear. So have we done that yet, or?
Yeah. Jen, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I think the master plan was part of that process.
Yeah.
And was part of that sampling that I think was the need.
Yeah, so just to refresh, with the comprehensive park and rec master plan, we had a community survey go out as well as a statistically valid survey. And as we went through those results, that's why we brought up the strategic initiative, because that also helped council drive those initiatives of knowing what was saying. And so that was one of the things, was an indoor space that you could do these types of programs in. And it's very hard to say, what were they thinking? Were they thinking like a full-out rec center or like a civic center? The nice thing about this is whichever end of the spectrum they're on, this one kind of meets in the middle, that it allows us kind of to do both without, having to go out and, get more bonds, things like that, that we can operate within current funding that the town already has. And so this isn't, and Brennan, correct me if I'm wrong, but this isn't spending more capital dollars that hasn't already been allocated for these types of projects.
Yes, please, would you explain where and how that came about, so everyone?
Yep, yeah, so,
Thank you.
so the town has a bonding program that we use to both upkeep our parks, roads, sidewalks, things like that, for it. And so this, actually, bond series goes back to 2023. The town issued bonds and has leftover bonds remaining of that 2 million there. So $2 million from that part of it, and a little bit of money left over from the pickleball project as well. So that's all funding that we have currently in the bank on it. And the question's always, is this going to raise my taxes? The answer is no. That money is already accounted for. It's already in the town's coffers. It is waiting to be allocated by the council for a project for that, and won't have any impact on your tax rates.
So I guess the other part of that is if it's 147,000 and 37,000 in revenue, so is that $100,000 that we come out of pocket every year?
So that's one of the things that, when I talk about the annual operating revenue, we're just going off of the base of what we've done without a facility. So this is, rentals that we've done for HOA meetings here. And that's just based on that current projection. We, looking at the community demand for spaces like this and birthday party requests that we get for the pool and different things, I see that going up. But based on this first year of operation, this is what we'd be looking at. And when you see that, yes, the town will be supplementing this building to get it up and going by that amount.
Yeah, and just to give a little more context to that, so the town, on the revenue side, as we build the budget for each year, one of the things that we are limited by is a state law that says without voter approval, you can only go so much up on the amount of money that you collect every year. The harder financial trick of this one really is trying to fit that extra roughly delta of about $100,000 into the operating budget on that part. Now, luckily, we're only talking about $100,000 on our budget of roughly a general fund budget of like $18, $19 million. This is doable for us on that part, and actually in the process right now of building the budget, and we are finding ways where we can get some additional room into the operating side to make sure that this doesn't have a negative financial impact on our operating budget from year to year.
Chase,
Yep.
in the park master plan, all of those items had a revenue recovery metric,
Yeah.
that target. This one, you know, based on the back of the envelope, is 25.5%. How does that compare to the resident, or the activity center we had in the Park Master Plan and that target revenue recovery? Like, what would be the goal for that revenue recovery?
Yeah, so when we look at, because the way that the recreation program plan was created was looking at cost recovery based on individual programs. Because obviously this building wasn't there at that time. And so the way that if I'm understanding correctly, you're asking what's our cost recovery goal on this building?
No, I mean, just, you know, in our master plan.
Yeah.
We had a vision for a activity center.
Yep.
And I think that had some goal of recovery. And I think, you know, in my mind that we're not trying to create a profit through charging
Correct.
people for these activities, but we're trying to recover it. But I think in my mind to the question, the original question is like, how does this 25% compare to our plan, and how can we
Yeah.
meet the plan?
Yeah, so with that activity center, what the cost recovery, the way that we have it laid out is by program. So like if you look at the diagram, that up on top, we have like camps, things like that are at 100% cost recovery. You know, free things that we have, such as our community events, have zero cost recovery, because that's something that we do for a service for our community. So like 4th of July, all the movies in the park, those free events. And then as we look at smaller class sizes, say fitness classes, things like that, you know, that are not as much of a community benefit, but it's more individual benefit, then we move up that scale. And so the programs that will go in this building, those cost recovery goals will be based on that program. So summer camps and any of our camps that are held in this building, those goals are at 100% cost recovery. Say we do active adult fitness classes. Our goal within that cost recovery was to recruit 50% of what that overall cost is. So we look at, you know, what the instructor cost is, and then what our fee is. Say we do a Zumba-thon and we have the instructor come in, and, you know, that 50% comes out to, you know, $4 per participant to do this hour-long class. We have a whole formula that we can put in, you know, what that overall cost is, what that participant, and then it'll give us that range, and then it'll allow us that dollar amount that we'll then do for those registration type classes. Now, other things like that, such as seminars, if I know the active adults have had individuals come in and talk about, you know, their travels and what they've done, that those are free events. And so those, we know that those types of events, you're going to come in, and those, we're not going to charge for those. It's just time. Our cost is allowing them and that time to be in that space.
So even if it's maybe not reflected in this very high-level budget, you think that this building can help us achieve those goals?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. This building's going to be kind of a vehicle for us to really line out what those programs are and be able to establish those cost recoveries for those individual programs.
I think it'd be important to note that to date, we don't offer anything like this.
Correct.
The only thing we're really offering are summer camps.
Yep.
And then the pools, of course. But, so this is an opportunity to really look at what does the town want, how can we design them to meet cost recovery, but also the opportunities are unlimited right now until they explore what is possible.
So as we talk about that, you know, what is kind of the future of this building and thinking about the time frame, you know, everything with those schedules, and I think that's one of my biggest excitements is looking at our community and giving them a space that we can program year round. We're very heavy summer oriented right now. And, you know, other opportunities, we've been able to expand to the spring and the fall, but on a very limited calendar. And so one of the things that we look at this is that we put out our summer guide. Our goal is that over this next year that we will have a guide for each season that will outline, you know, what's going on from August or September to December. And here's the classes, here's the activities that you can participate in. This is how you get registered. And then here's also the times that it's available for rent. If you want to have a family gathering, you want to have a birthday party, that then we'll be able to program this building out and have it truly be a year-round gathering space for the community. So one of the things that we have done, just because this is kind of debuting it to the public tonight, is that we have a web page on the town's web page under, you can click on here, but if you go to the town manager's page under projects, it'll have the recreation facility. But what we're going to be doing is tomorrow we will be putting out a social media blast on where to find this information, as well as it'll be included in the town weekly. And kind of next steps is coming to the July 13th meeting, town council meeting. We will hold a public hearing, as well as that will be the time that we'll have a budget amendment for the capital expenses, because right now we're in the contingency phase of the project. And so we're getting inspections done, we're getting appraisals done, and then we'll have a lot of that information during July 13th. If all things go well, we have 50 days looking at closing on this facility. And once we get the keys to that, the reason why that budget amendment on July 13th is important is because once we have keys, our goal is to use the next 4 or 5 months to get the facility up to our standards and get new carpeting in, get painting done, get those things that we need to adjust to make it fully usable, to then have a ribbon cutting, like the mayor had said, towards the start of the year, of the new year. And so that's kind of what we're looking at as far as time frame. But again, just to reiterate, we're super excited about this building as far as the programming that we're going to be able to program for all ages and have a space for the community to gather. And so hope you're all excited as we are, but I'll open it up for questions and discussion.
Y'all have questions from the board?
Sure, I'll go first. First of all, I think this is a tremendous opportunity. You know, they say fortune favors the well-prepared, and having that parks plan in place allowed the council and staff to have the vision to go procure this site. Great location, great building. The fact that it's right in the middle of Trophy Club, you couldn't have planned it any better originally. The cost basis, like I think it was $210 a square foot. It's below replacement cost, so great cost basis for the city, great acquisition. I think, you know, the budget and the revenue is probably something we'll figure out over time, and I think that's fine. Are there any shared parking or easement concerns, sharing that facility with the neighbors?
Yeah, so the building is part of a condominium association there with all the other buildings that are part of that building. So the parking arrangement is a shared parking arrangement among all of those buildings there. So so there's no concern from that aspect of it. As buyers into this in this building here, we will assume the rights that we have underneath that condominium association for the parking component of it. And we are still working out the licensing agreement that would allow us to use both the outdoor play area as well as that field area there for that. So that's one of those things to be finalized yet as we move through. But we are looking to secure a license agreement there that would allow us the ability to use that on a permanent basis.
Now, would you put that rendering back up there for us to all look at? Because I think it's right there. So it's, what they're talking about, that playground park, and then right behind it is all that greenery. And it even goes further. So the opportunity for outdoor activities there is just, again, and explodes. So that's a beautiful place. Are y'all finished over there? Anybody else? Question?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Following up on his question on parking, have we reviewed the condo docs as far as any restrictions on parking or limitations or per building or anything like that?
We've not looked at them for that specific issue, but we can.
I think his question's good, because it may be in those condo docs.
Yeah, the condominium documents guarantee us access to a certain number of spots only because of the way the percentage works out. But I don't remember any other restrictions, but we'll double check just to make sure.
But there's a lot of parking behind that building as well.
Correct.
That we don't typically see.
Yeah, because of its location there, and it's the only building right there, right, is that anyone who parks behind it on that side that's closer to the creek, you wouldn't be parking there unless you were going to be going to this building, because the other ones are just too far away and there's easier parking in other locations.
Did you have a question, Bob? Oh, yep, okay.
But I do have one as far as with the school being right next door, parking in.
What school?
Lakeview, isn't that right next door?
No. So this is right before you get to the roundabout. You have Tom Thumb over to the left before you get to the roundabout, and then this is on the right side of the road. So this isn't anywhere by Lakeview. Yep, it's right there by the roundabout on TrophyClub Drive.
Yeah, the building you can see in the very corner of this, in that left-hand lower corner, that's Tom Thumb sitting right there. Yeah, that's the back of Tom Thumb.
And the creek where you come down with the yellow signs, so that's right here at the bottom of the screen. Because the creek is right there.
Next parking lot over, tennis court, swimming pool for the club.
Yep.
This building's not in the floodplain, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
He's a building.
No, but the green space is.
A portion of it is.
Yeah, off to the southeast there, yeah.
Well, I'm excited. This is just, again, being in the industry, you can't build something like this for that price at all. And I'm so excited. I think this is a huge win for the town for sure.
I agree. For what it's worth.
Yeah, one of the comparisons that we had along the way, we, as you know, we're currently in the annex building there, right behind the mud building. We've been using that space for the last 2 summers or 3?
Last two summers.
Last 2 summers for it, and it has a certain amount of space to it, right? So we looked at the idea of if we were there permanently, we would have to make renovations to the building because it's just not suitable for its purpose. But we had anticipated those renovation costs to make it a useful space for us to be in the neighborhood of $2 million for it. The advantage of this project here is that we actually get a larger space from that, so it's an extra almost double the size of what that current annex building is. And the price point is still below what we were anticipating spending anyway. And we don't have to worry about the 3, 4, the long timeline of actually getting the building under construction, renovating it for multiple summers, not having summer camp or having to find alternative locations for summer camp during that time. There's a lot of wins here on this place. And at that price point really becomes just a great opportunity for the community.
Okay, Chase, I think that's a fantastic point. The council has already been talking about long-term plans and expenditures, and that $2 million was kind of out on the horizon. So if you think about spending $2 million on a facility that would need a lot of work and location where it is versus what we're getting, what a What a great win.
Just the amount of money you would have spent on a parking lot.
Correct. And
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big chunk.
For our purpose of where our thoughts are, you're talking about a lot of the activity, the mud building activity center. The biggest things were going to be parking lot and adding bathroom facilities. All right, from scratch, and breaking up the slab and foundation for it. Those were your two gigantic costs that added it into the 2 million range.
And when we talk about logistics and safety, because as we know, the water tower right there, even that driveway, I mean, the mud is using that for heavy equipment going back through there, and then we have summer camp going on there. And when our buses go up there, they have to do like a 10-point turn to turn around, load up the kids, and go out. And so, you know, even just logistically, and when we talk about, well, that we would be a very singular program, one program going on at a time, where a space like this with multiple parking, multiple ins and outs, we can then simultaneously have multiple programs going on at the same time, ending at different times, but not have those tight spaces or logistical concerns.
Any comments, council? Anyone? Questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a few things I want to just share with everybody. Andy, you were exactly right when you said that our master plan and preparation really enabled us to take action here when an opportunity presented itself. So, you know, credit to all the input we got from the community going through and putting that plan together. And obviously, these are things that council and staff and you all have been talking about in broad themes for a very long time. And we mentioned the Mud Annex building, and we were looking at doing renovations there. I was very supportive of that because don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? We've, for years and years and years, struggled with not having assets in the form of facilities, right? I mean, it was, for the longest time, it was tough just getting this going, right? This building we're in today. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to be able to expand our programs from the rec side, to be able to cover as many populations and areas of interest as possible. The gymnasium specifically, being that it is a flexible surface and not a hardwood court, provides for countless opportunities, things that we haven't even thought about yet, which is great. And another one that I mentioned the other day when this came up initially was a location in Denton County that we operate that people can come vote in, right? Because right now, sometimes you vote here, sometimes you don't. If it's a city-only thing, we're in Tarrant right here. It's been complex for the last 6 or 7 years. So I would just caution as we move forward, a lot of the things are going to come before you all, especially when it comes to thinking about Parks and Rec programming and initiatives and things of that nature. Our cost recovery goals are important. This is an asset in the terms of an asset to the community. It's obviously not an asset in a financial sense. We will operate at a loss for the benefit of providing services and programs to our neighbors. And that's okay. That's one of the advantages of being a public institution, right, is that we get to do that. So that's going to inform me going forward in terms of how we prioritize, the things we want to try to use this facility for. And the only other thing I would add for all of us, for our Parks Board, anybody who might listen, talk to your neighbors about this. Get out in the community about this one. We want a lot of feedback. This is something that's been talked about for a very long time in a number of different perspectives, and I think it's super important that we can consider as many of those perspectives as we can while we're in this due diligence period.
Yeah, I want to emphasize just something that Councilmember Rowe just mentioned there. So getting community input, I think, is really important as we continue to move forward. As was mentioned earlier, we are right now in the contingency period of this contract, right? We are under contract. That contingency period is 50 days long. That puts us basically at the end of July as being the end of that contingency period for us. So we are planning on getting a lot of messaging out to the community to let them be aware of what we're doing. We are going to be holding public hearings with public, and then a council discussion as necessary based on that at our next 2 council meetings. So that would be on July 13th and then again on July 27th. for it. Why are we doing that? Well, because we want to make sure that if anyone wants to come and talk to the council, about their, being in favor, being opposed to it, that they have a forum to be able to do that. So we will be offering that part of it. Once we pass the end of July, we then have 30 days to close on this. And so we'll be setting up that. That's why we're right now doing all the other due diligence that needs to be done on the building, the inspections, the appraisals, the survey work, getting all of that finalized. And ultimately, we'll be talking about the results of those as we meet as a council for the next, as we have meetings in July. Okay.
Other comments? Barry?
I think this is fantastic. It really hits all three pillars of our community: youth, families, and our active seniors. So, and then this is a great opportunity for us to utilize our new naming ordinance.
Yes. Yep. Pull that out.
Yep. So, thank you.
I knew what?
Naming ordinance facility. So it's an opportunity for that.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, just one thought on the allocation, right? If you know these costs are coming, as you redo all your costs within Parks and Rec, maybe you can start to allocate some of those costs across all the programs to try to drive revenue neutral, so.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is the opportunity. There are several of you in here. I would encourage you to share this website. You all have a Facebook page. I'm just sorry. Use your Facebook page as you're networking to the community. Share it so that we can get this information out. This is the #1 first opportunity this year that residents can be a part of the beginning. I like to say, not when the gates open. Get them in, everybody, come in and be with us in July. We have 2 council meetings. What are they dates again?
July 13th and then July 27th.
Okay, and those are going to be opportunities for residents to come in and speak. Hey, come in and say you're excited about this. Tell us what you'd like to see. So be a part of this decision process. You have a lot of time to do it. So
And
let's share the information.
We'll have links on the
Yes.
social media as
this
well as the town weekly.
Yes.
And so you'll be able to access all the information that we shared tonight.
It's a great opportunity. And also, I'd like to say, it is the park board. That is another place that residents can come in and speak to the park board, because they're really the first people to hear what you want, that then they bring it to the council for a decision process. So go to the park board and visit with them. Come in, be a part of this. Get excited about it. This is such a great opportunity for this town.
And applications are open if you want to join the park board.
Yes, they are. Thank you for
You had one
something.
put in last night.
You did? Good.
Yeah, Jenny Fox.
Oh, yeah, good, yeah. Okay, good, yeah. I think we're having really good response on our applicants because of our wonderful video too, so.
Hey, Mayor, just one final comment. When we talked about this at our council meeting just last week, we talked about the importance of having this meeting with you folks on the board, and it's worked out really well. I mean, we want to make sure we're in lockstep with you and you with us, so good job.
Any other comments from the park board?
Nope.
Good job.
Yeah,
I
good.
mean, it all came together. And as Ryland said, it was planned.
Yes.
That was a massive undertaking.
It's great when a plan comes together.
It does. It's nice having a plan to follow.
So Chase, what are you going to do for the next year?
That is right.
Great when the plan comes.
A lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a lot of work.
Like doing for the next year, like a lot of this is going to be planning and getting everything ready, and doing those renovations, making sure that we can get what the community wants in there. So it's going to be a
It
lot
was
of fun.
kind of tongue-in-cheek. I didn't want you to lose your mind in the
Oh,
next
I
year.
won't. This is exciting. This is
I do have
exciting
one,
times.
I do have a question. I know that there are no kitchen, quote-unquote, facilities in there. Do you have plans to put anything in there to allow for that kind of activity? Not to cook, but, to make it available.
Like a cooler or something.
So there's not any of that type of facility
I know.
space in there. And it would be very costly to create that type of space. So as far as like a kitchen warming area, like a lot of the things, like if you have a birthday party, things like that, I think individuals would need to be able to bring in some of those. We obviously will have outlets, things like that. But all of these spaces, like I had mentioned, being flexible, are going to be what can we bring in, set up for the program, the event, and then tear down, remove, and set up for the next. And so those will be things that we'll look with our rental policies of what things we can allow, what types of outlets, things like that we have for warming devices, things of that nature. So.
That's,
Is there refrigerators in there?
no, I don't think so.
You gotta figure that.
So the goal would be around the start of the year to have everything ready and operational. But again, that's just depending on the contingency period when we actually get keys to the building. But that's one of the things that this will be a continued topic at park board meetings, council meetings, that we'll be able to provide updates on what those schedules are looking like so that we can have a clear picture of when it'll open.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
You're in
More to
charge.
Is it back to me?
You're in charge.
All right. Do I get a motion to adjourn? I think that's it.
Motion
Okay.
to adjourn.
Second. All right. All in favor? Great job, team.
7:05.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Out of here.